Okay, what are you doing?
You know, relaxing.
It looks like you're standing kind of rigid and formal, not at all relaxed.
Really? No.
Jesus, what did they do to you?
Meghan Markle is yet again misinterpreting things. Because I was here in London for Trooping the Colour this weekend. It is a grand and glorious occasion. It gives you goosebumps when you're on the Royal Mall, waiting for the fly past and seeing the royals on the balcony. There is absolutely nothing like it.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in a recent episode called the Worldwide Privacy Tour. Now, that, of course, is a reference to their repeated calls for privacy in interviews. And here is how South Park mocked the obvious hypocrisy. Take a look.
And just when we thought things may have settled a bit, there's news this week that the Sussexes are parting way with another 6 staff. Now, why they need 6 staff in the first place is a mystery to me, but to remove 6 all at once, well, that doesn't really bode well. And they do have this, in my view, perfectly irreverent way of reading the room. This week, they've taken a swipe at Harry and Meghan, and it's gone viral.
I guess I broke his neck. Is that a thing?
Yes!
What about your ketchup company?
That was a dumb idea.
Can you get another show? I mean, not one that you act on, darling. I know people don't want to hire you for that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't the first time that South Park has had a crack. They also had a crack at the royal wedding.
Prince now dipping his arms into the pudding, as is tradition. Princess will, of course, scrape the pudding off the princess's arms, thus symbolizing their union.
Meghan Markle, I would argue, misinterpreted her time as a royal. In addition to that, I think she's misinterpreting what's going on now with her Instagram account. Because sadly for Meghan, I don't think the twerking heard around the world is going to be the slam dunk for the future of her brand that she thinks it is.
All right. Now, according to reports, Meghan Markle was, quote, upset and overwhelmed by her portrayal in a cartoon. But anyway, the show's creators were seemingly unfazed by reports of a possible lawsuit, a move that Meghan and Harry now deny. Now, according to a new poll, the couple's approval in the U.S. Is somehow even lower than before. It sank lower after the episode aired. Here with reaction, the biggest fan of Harry and Meghan ever.
If you look closely, all of the staff that they've basically either asked to leave or terminated are communication staff. So staff that have to do with their comms and their PR. They got rid of, the communications person for Archewell, as well as, Meghan's social media manager. They have retained a small team at a PR firm.
Esther, why did this play so well?
One, because it was very funny. I actually watched the entire episode and I was howling laughing. I thought it was brilliant. I mean, I think it really encapsulates how many Americans are feeling. The episode was very clever in the sense that they call them the Canadian royal family, which is technically true. But it really was kind of a play on modern times. I think one of the reasons why it really resonated is because it was so cutthroat and brutally honest. The Sussexes made it very clear that one of the reasons why they were leaving the royal family was in pursuit of their own privacy. And in the years since, they've done everything to prove the opposite. They can't seem to get enough of media attention. I don't think people understand even Harry's book that's been released is part of a multi-book deal, right? How many people leave their family and record themselves on the plane the entire time, or have a film crew follow them all over their adventures in pursuit of privacy? I mean, in the South Park episode, it was literally called the Privacy World Tour.
Hired a lot of her former PR team because that video has done so well, and others had told her to do it. And so she's like, I'm going to go with that team.
I don't believe a word either of them say about anything. And what's really interesting to me is following that South Park mockery of them, which really highlighted all their hypocrisies. Their approval ratings now have fallen below Prince Andrew's in America.
Looking for privacy on what they call the Worldwide Privacy Tour, complete with song. It is... And these folks are actually, I would say they're beyond parody, but clearly they're not. South Park did an amazing job on that. There are actual rumors, by the way, that Harry and Meghan wanted to sue the creators of South Park. There are actual rumors that came out to that effect, which would be just a perfect example of the so-called Streisand effect.
But looking at this entire situation, I think once again, Meghan Markle is wildly off base on what the likability is, why people watch the video, and how it's not, I don't think, going to be the best thing for her brand.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and their consistent attempts to be private by constantly seeking attention. It's hysterically funny.
So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family. You've had everything handed to you, but you say...
I am, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not just saying this for rhetorical effect. I am physically nauseated watching that clip. That is like a parody of what that show should be. I had to get it totally wrong to get it totally right. I just love...
Hey.
Did you know it's cold in there?
Yeah.
Must be an American thing.
It's not.
But wait, watch this. Amazing, right? This might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
An apartment, so.
Yes, an apartment palace, I know that.
That also made me laugh. I just thought that was so exceptionally funny. And do you think this sort of parody plays to the views of younger people, their views that they have towards the royals more generally?
On a personal level, I feel really sad.
Why? You don't feel sad. Okay.
I think absolutely. I think it's meme culture. It's a reflection of what people are actually feeling.
The cameras were supposed to capture Meghan Markle's triumphant return to Hollywood. Instead, they recorded what insiders are calling the most tone-deaf celebrity disaster of 2025.
South Park rules.
They fucking rule.
They went at Harry and Meghan.
She's suing them.
They're trying to sue him. It's like, don't
What are
fucking
you're suing South Park?
kick
really?
that hornet's nest. Do not.
Really?
Well, you know what's going on. Someone wanted a lot of attention, and now they got it. That was the whole episode.
That was the ep.
Yeah.
That was the
Is
premise.
that what it was? Like, we want privacy, and they keep going on every magazine.
Yeah.
Be a regular person. Yeah. Go get a job in an office.
Behind the perfectly curated Instagram posts and glossy Netflix, trailers sources close to the Duchess reveal a woman spiraling as her carefully constructed brand crumbles in real time.
Prince Harry really thought the nightmare was over, that the storm had passed, but honey, South Park is coming back for round 2, and this time it's brutal. We're talking a full-blown takedown of Meghan Markle's now infamous pregnancy twerk video, and let me tell you, behind closed doors at Montecito, Harry is a total wreck. Sources say he's shaken, pacing, and absolutely bracing for another global humiliation.
I was living in the middle of nowhere in Toronto, Canada, and I didn't even really know the word royal. I mean, besides the Lord song. I love that song. It's an amazing...
You remember that worldwide privacy tour skit that ripped through the internet? South Park dragged the Sussexes like there was no tomorrow. It made headlines, memes, and left Harry and Meghan scrambling. Well, now, Trey Parker and Matt Stone are allegedly back with a vengeance, and they're not holding back. This new episode...
When With Love, Meghan dropped its trailer, the internet didn't. Watch It erupted. But not with the warm, aspirational buzz Netflix executives had banked on.
One alleged scene, Cartman parodies a royal pregnancy announcement, a detail critics are already calling misogynistic and cruel, while supporters call it hilariously accurate. The backlash is building even before the episode drops, and it's colliding head-on with a wider media meltdown for Meghan. According to Forbes, the previous South Park episode, Worldwide Privacy Tour, brutally skewered the couple and reignited public debates about their credibility. That satire alone triggered headlines around the world.
Within hours, social media transformed into a digital battlefield where every perfectly arranged flower and artisanal ingredient became ammunition for critics who saw something far more sinister than lifestyle content.
Can you guys react to South Park's Worldwide Privacy Tour? It was very much on point. The only part in the episode that I didn't quite agree with is at the end, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it, the big revelation in regard to Meghan and Harry, who are the Prince and Princess of Canada, is that Meghan's words are actually just an echo from Harry's mouth, and she looks inside of his mouth and realizes that all of the things she says are just echoes of what he's thinking. I actually think it's quite the opposite. Nobody could convince me that Meghan Markle is just a puppet of Prince Harry. Not a day in my life. I think they are both in peak victim culture and have attached themselves to that, and they managed to find each other in what it was a very perfect coupling that would help each other, build this cocktail of crying about their privacy. So
the hashtags told the story. Hashtag tone deaf was trending alongside hashtag out of touch, while memes flooded every platform showing Meghan's gardening gloves next to grocery bills ordinary families couldn't afford. The irony wasn't lost on anyone who remembered South Park's brutal 2023 takedown. Trey Parker and Matt Stone had crystallized public sentiment into 8 devastating minutes of animation, and now their fictional privacy tours seemed prophetic. Every criticism they'd embedded in cartoon form was playing out in high definition. Reality? The woman who demanded privacy while courting publicity was now teaching cooking while controversy simmered in every comment section. Netflix executives weren't laughing at the memes. Sources inside the streaming giant describe emergency meetings, where viewership projections were quietly revised downward and marketing budgets suddenly faced scrutiny. The Sussex deal, once heralded as a coup for the platform, was becoming a liability, measured in subscriber complaints and brand damage. One executive allegedly muttered during a content review that they'd signed a Duchess but were getting a drama queen instead. Then came the Le Croisette controversy that sent the internet into overdrive. As families struggled with inflation and basic groceries became luxury items, Meghan was filmed using cookware that cost more than most people's monthly rent. The optics were catastrophic. Critics didn't just attack her wealth, they attacked what they saw as a fundamental disconnect from reality. Social media exploded with side-by-side comparisons: Meghan's $400 Dutch oven next to food bank lines, her organic ingredients, next to families choosing between rent and groceries. Behind Montecito's gates, the reaction was reportedly volcanic. Multiple sources describe Meghan pacing her study, furious that her attempt at relatability had backfired so spectacularly. She'd positioned herself as an every woman sharing simple pleasures, but the audience saw Marie Antoinette playing peasant. One aide allegedly witnessed her screaming at her phone during a particularly brutal Twitter trend, demanding to know why people couldn't see her authentic intentions. The South Park episode that had supposedly been forgotten was suddenly everywhere. Again, clips of the animated privacy tour resurfaced with new context, and the parallels were devastating. The cartoon couple's desperate attempts to seem normal while maintaining their privileged lifestyle wasn't parody anymore, it was documentary. Trey and Matt had predicted this exact moment. The Duchess who wanted ordinary life without ordinary struggles, publicity without accountability, influence without criticism. Hollywood's reaction was swift and surgical. Former allies began the careful dance of distance, with representatives quietly removing Meghan's name from upcoming project discussions. The Whisper network that had once celebrated her royal rebellion was now sharing different stories, tales of impossible demands, last-minute changes, and a woman who'd confused celebrity with royalty, but gained neither's protections. One former collaborator allegedly told friends she'd rather work with actual difficult divas because at least they delivered ratings. Industry veterans who'd worked with Meghan painted a picture of someone caught between worlds she'd never fully understood. The royal family had given her global recognition but strict limitations. Hollywood promised creative freedom but demanded results. Now she was stuck in the worst of both: royal expectations with celebrity accountability, Duchess scrutiny with actress pressure. Every misstep was magnified, every privilege questioned, every attempt at authenticity dissected for hidden motives. The financial pressure was becoming impossible to ignore. American Riviera Orchard, her lifestyle brand that was supposed to capitalize on the Netflix success, faced its own struggles. Industry insiders whispered about trademark issues, delayed launches, and investors growing nervous about association with controversy. The woman who'd positioned herself as a lifestyle guru was discovering that lifestyle required more than luxury. It required likability. She was rapidly losing. Harry's role in the unfolding disaster became another source of speculation. Military friends reportedly expressed concern about his transformation from decorated soldier to Hollywood spouse, watching him navigate red carpets instead of serving his country. Private conversations allegedly revealed his frustration with the circus their life had become, though publicly he maintained unwavering support. Some sources suggested tension over the constant scrutiny, with Harry longing for the relative simplicity of royal duties he'd abandoned. Net's ex's patience was reportedly wearing thin. The platform had invested heavily in the Sussex brand, expecting the global fascination with Meghan and Harry to translate into viewership gold. Instead, they were managing constant controversy while subscribers voiced complaints about content quality. Internal analytics supposedly showed that while the couple generated massive social media engagement, much of it was negative. The kind of buzz that drives clicks, but not subscriptions. The cooking show's postponement due to Los Angeles wildfires provided temporary relief, but industry watchers saw it as symptom of larger problems. Every delay, every controversy, every public misstep was being cataloged by observers who remembered other celebrity flames that had burned bright before crashing hard. The question wasn't whether Meghan would recover from this particular controversy, but whether her brand could survive the accumulated weight of public exhaustion. Behind closed doors, crisis management had become a full-time occupation. Sources describe a team stretched thin between damage control and content creation, trying to maintain the Duchess's image while she seemed determined to undermine it. Through choices that appeared increasingly desperate, every Instagram post was scrutinized by committees, every public appearance dissected for potential backlash, every project filtered through consultants for running out of strategies. The irony of her situation wasn't lost on former royal correspondents, who'd covered her transition from actress to Duchess to Hollywood entrepreneur. She'd gained everything she'd claimed to want: creative control, financial independence, freedom from royal protocol, but seemed more constrained than ever. Every move was calculated, every statement parsed, every appearance managed. The spontaneity she'd craved as a working royal was impossible now that every misstep became international news. Critics pointed to a fundamental misunderstanding of celebrity in the social media age. Royal fame had protected her from direct feedback. Palace protocol created buffers between criticism and consequence. Hollywood offered no such shields. Every tweet was immediate, every review public, every failure documented in real time. The audience she was trying to cultivate felt free to judge, critique, and reject her in ways that royal subjects never could. The next 6 months would determine whether the Sussex brand could survive its current crisis or join the graveyard of celebrity ventures that promised transformation but delivered disappointment. Industry veterans predicted that without significant course correction, the Netflix deal might not survive its full term. The Duchess, who'd changed her life to pursue Hollywood dreams, was discovering that dreams could become nightmares when the audience stopped believing in the dreamer. What happens next will either validate, Meghan's gamble on Hollywood or confirm her critics' prediction that she'd overestimated her appeal beyond royal novelty. The cameras are still rolling, but the story they're capturing might not be the one anyone expected to tell.